know. All right. So, if you recall on page 34, what was the first step? GCF. Forever and always, you need to try and look for a GCF. All right? Now, sometimes there are GCFs. If there is, I want you to factor it and put it outside of the parentheses. Okay? Now, what does the word factor mean again? To divide. All right. So whatever you have, you're going to divide it by the GCF, and whatever's left over goes into the parentheses. Now, sometimes you don't have a GCF, and that's okay. What I want you to next recognize is, do you have a difference of squares? Can anybody please tell me what is the difference of squares? You could use page 33 to help you. Page 33. What is the difference of squares? It's on the board.
Oh.
Yeah, the formula. A squared minus b squared. Now half of it is on the board. Can you guys finish the rest? Equals, parentheses, a plus b. And then a minus b. Yeah. Which again, if you forgot, and I'll zoom in for my blind little bats. There we go. If you have forgotten this, it is on page 33. There we go. That looks a lot clearer. Okay, now, you'll notice there's like arrows going every which way on here. So, what kind of polynomial would you call a squared minus b squared? What type of polynomial would you call that? A squared minus b squared is a what kind of polynomial? What was that? Binomial. Okay. So, if you have a GCF, factor it out. And then it's going to ask you if you have a binomial. Now, obviously, if you do have the difference of squares, we're going to again use page 33. Maybe I should have put it here. Page 33 to factor. So I want to do a couple of examples of this. That's kind of really squeezed in there. Let's start with x squared minus 1. Does that look like a difference of squares? Can you guys help me rearrange it so it does? What would I write? Well, I kind of want it to look like this first. So right now it doesn't look that way. X squared minus what squared? 1 squared. I agree. Okay, so now I know that I should have two sets of parentheses, a plus sign in one of them and a minus sign in the other, so I'm just going to set it up. Minus and a plus. All right, so what do I write? X plus 1 and x minus 1. That is absolutely correct. And I'm going to box it. Okay. How about, I'm only going to have 3 examples in here, so I left ample room for you guys. What about x squared minus 4? What should I write? yes. Can you write the final factored form? Because I know you guys know that, right? And x minus 2. Perfect. Now, does it always have to have the plus sign first and then the minus sign? No. So, keeping that in mind, what if I gave you 9x squared minus 100? Can you guys factor that one for me? Parentheses, what was that? 3x minus 10 and 3x plus 10. This is easy because we've already done this, right? Now, I wanted this flow chart because I want you guys to pretty much follow this to guide you, all right? Because if it's something easy like difference of squares, don't use the backside. That's ridiculously difficult, all right? Oh, yeah, this is page 32 over here. Page 32. So we just reviewed over page 32, page 33. Now, the thing is, sometimes you don't have a binomial, even more specifically, the difference of squares. So what do we call something that has 3 terms? That is called a, what? Trinomial. Okay. Trinomial. Now, if we do have a trinomial, next, what I want you to question is A 1? What do they mean by A? Oh, yes, A could be here in the difference of squares, but I'm talking about a trinomial. What do you think they're talking about? Maybe look at page 34. What A are they talking about? So that's the A from ax squared plus bx. What is that A called? What kind of coefficient? Where is it located? In the front. So what kind of coefficient would I call that? Follow the leader. So what kind of coefficient is that? Leading coefficient, yes. Oh, fudge. You all right there? Okay, now, the reason I want to know about my leading coefficient is because if my leading coefficient is 1, then in that case, I want you to refer to page 34, which was called Trial and Error. So a lot of you guys just use the little boxes, right? Like that. What went on the top again? What was that called? That was called the product, which was your C value. And what was the bottom part called? That was the sum. Do you remember what letter that was? That is the B value. Okay. Let's see. And then you wrote your factors like this, right? Now, again, if you have a situation like this, you have a trinomial, your leading coefficient is 1, please don't waste your time. Go back, and solve it the easy way. Today we are not talking about the easy way. This is everything that we've done so far. Page 32, page 33, page 34. Now, we are going to factor by grouping. And truthfully, it's not that bad. But this is the method that we're going to learn on the back side. ¿Qué página are we on? 35. So you guys ready to flip it on over? All right. Flip it on over. Now, these are all of the steps, but the more you do it, the more it'll just come naturally, okay? So we're going to have a lot of practice today. Now, first and foremost, forever and always, what is the first thing that I need to do? Find a GCF. Do I have a GCF in this ejemplo? All right. So I'm going to write over here, no GCF. Okay, so I do not have a GCF. So the next thing I'm going to ask myself is, do I have a binomial or trinomial? I do have a trinomial. Okay, is my A value equal to 1? No, that's why I'm doing factor by grouping. Now, I want to identify A, B, and C. So help me out. What's my A? 6. What's my B? -11. What's my C? -10. Now the reason I want to, bless you, the reason I want to identify my A, B, and C is because I want to, just like on page 34, multiply A times C. What is A times C? What's A again? Oh, 6 times, which is, but I'm looking for the, what are these bars again? Absolute value of -60 is 60. Ooh, thank you so much. 60 units. I like that. Ooh, that's nice. All right. So, let's go ahead and find all of the factors of 60. Of course, now again, we're going to start in ascending order, so we should start with what number? 1 and 60. 2 and 30, 3 and 20, 4 and 15, 5 and 12, 6, and I kind of gave it away. I'd put those dots there. That's all that we have. Now, step 3, 4, 5, we're going to summarize here. I don't know why this thing showed up like that. I put a number 1 there. This is actually just supposed to be a minus sign. I don't even know what happened. Yeah, that should have just been a minus. But nonetheless, we're going to explain this anyway. Now, this is really important. I'm going to highlight it. This is so important that cough, 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 cough. So sick and tired of people not listening to things that they should put on their note cards. For semester 2, a lot of people like putting this on their note card. Cough. All right? Now, I love this little matrix because this really gives away the signs. And I think that's what a lot of people mess up on the most. This just gives it to you. So, since I already identified my A, B, and C, please tell me, is C positive or negative? Okay, so let's cover this up. My B, is it positive or negative? It's also negative. Can you guys please read? What does it say? The bigger factor in each pair will be negative. Now, notice how it gets bigger. So, the left side is the small, the right side is the bigger factor. So, since it's saying that all of these will be negative, I'm literally going to make all of these little minus signs right here. Minus, minus, minus. So that means the smaller ones will be positive. Now, I like writing this all the way down because I shouldn't get anything wrong at this point. Now, which of these are going to give me my B value? Just like last time, which of these numbers, these pairs, are going to sum up to negative 11? Ooh, 4 and negative 15. 4 minus 15 equals negative 11. Perfect. So, I'm going to write positive 4 and negative 15 here. Those are my two numbers that are going to work out. Now, I'm going to scooch this on up. Because on number 6, I want to rewrite this. So I'm going to write out my original expression, 6x squared, and then write it here in that green that I circled there, minus 11x, and then minus 10. Now, according to number 6, I am going to replace B with this factored pair. The one that we have here in this little dashed square. All right, rectangle, sorry. So let's go ahead and rewrite it. I'm going to bring down this 6x squared. But then, that 11x, I'm going to split it into, so positive 4 what? X and negative 15 x. And then I'm going to bring down this minus 10. Okay. Now, this is where things kind of change a bit. Everything else looks the same as what we were doing on page 34. Now is where things are getting a little weird. All right? What I want to do is I want to split. I want to regroup. And I'm going to use parentheses, and I'm going to split them right down the middle using a dashed line. Bless you. So, at this point, I no longer have a trinomial. I have a 4-term polynomial, and I'm going to split it right down the middle. And in the middle, I'm going to put a plus sign. So, using parentheses, what binomial do I have on the left side? Plus 4x. And what do I have on the right side? Ooh, negative 15x minus 10. Love it. Now, the next step is I am going to be looking, I'm going to factor, specifically, I'm going to look for a GCF. And I'm going to pull it out of those parentheses, just like we always do. Whatever's left over, I'm going to leave on the inside, okay? So, I'm going to cover this side. And here, you guys gave me the binomial 6x squared plus 4x. You know GCF, right? Does it have a GCF? What do they have in common? 2x. Okay, so let's pull out that 2x. So I'm going to write it over here a little bit lower so I have more room. 2x. All right, so that means I'm going to divide these two by 2x. What does that leave me with? 3x plus 2. Okay. And now I'm going to do the exact same thing. I think I'll use the lighter purple. Now I have negative 15x minus 10. They do both have negative 5 in common, so let's divide both by negative 5. I'm going to pull that out here, negative 5. And what am I left with whenever I divide? Oh. Isn't that the exact same thing? Now, it should give you the exact same number inside the parentheses. If it doesn't, then either you've done something wrong or it's just non-factorable. Jess, do you need me to hold on to that for you? So, last step is I'm going to rewrite. Now, I'm going to take my purples, and it's going to be in front here. And then my yellow that was on there twice, it's going to be on the second one. Doesn't matter which one, no, but I just want to keep it uniform. So, I'm going to write here 2x minus 5 and then parentheses 3x plus 2. This is my final answer. Now, why do you think 3x plus 2 is on here 2 times? Or is that a really good question? A little bit? How do you distribute? So what would I distribute first? Like 2x to 3x and 2x to the 2. And then? So all it did was it broke it down. Oh, okay. And that's why it must have the exact same binomial in here 2 times. All right. So we're all done here. Let's put it into the binding.